Hello and welcome back to Glow with TJ. In this episode, I would like to talk about some different ways that you can keep promises to yourself. And there are an infinite number of ways to keep promises to yourself. I would like to start with this, though, that sometimes the best promises that we keep to ourselves, like they're the unglamorous, they're the small ones, they're the things, that happen day to day in the showing up for yourself each day. They're not flashy. They may be monotonous and boring, but they are the ones that make a difference. And by that, I mean, like, excuse me, like resting when you're tired instead of feeling like you have to earn it. So letting your body rest and taking a day without feeling the need to be productive, like let me do this and then I'll rest. Just resting, just resting. Telling the truth to yourself about how you feel about something. That's something we can do each day. Moving your body because it feels good and not to try to punish it or fix it. That can mean going for a short walk, dancing to your favorite song. Um, what else can it be? Saying no without justifying your answer. That's a big one I had to learn how to do. Um, Showing up for yourself in the small things like journaling for 5 minutes, sitting in the quiet for 5 minutes, a walk around the block. Um, especially on those days when you don't feel like it. One of the things we used to say in yoga and meditation when I was learning all about that in those trainings was that, meditate for an hour a day, except when you don't have time, then meditate for 2 hours. And while that's not, most of us are not going to do that, the idea is that don't skip it just because you don't have time. Make the time for it. A few minutes. A few minutes even makes a difference in showing up for yourself, in giving to yourself in those wonderful ways. Um, it's letting yourself change your mind, change your direction, um, without having to get permission, right? Because so often we don't give ourselves permission to do the things we love or to do the things we need to do. Or we start down a path and we're like, whoa, no, this isn't working, but we don't let ourselves change our mind. So that can be keeping a promise, staying true to yourself. I will share one way that I keep a promise to myself. Back at the beginning of last year, I wanted to incorporate more fruits and vegetables into my food choices. I had gotten pretty sloppy with my food choices, and I first I did call in help. Like I went and saw a dietitian to make sure that I was that to kind of help me guide me in some other decisions I wanted to make and to figure out how to do this in the small ways. So I felt overwhelmed with it. And so one way that I felt I could keep my promise to myself was bringing in help, reaching out for someone else's expertise and experience to help me set a course, a path. And I wanted to start eating more salads for lunch, because I'm usually one to just grab whatever, maybe some leftovers, maybe a sandwich. And oftentimes that would leave me maybe grabbing things that were not the best choices. So the plan, there was a plan, which was to make sure that my vegetables were cut up for the week. I started, it was making shredded chicken, putting shredded chicken and quinoa on my salad. So making up grilling up some chicken or cooking it in the oven, depending on what all was going on a Sunday and shredding it up and bagging it up and saving other portions for later or for other weeks, but keeping out a portion to eat on all week. That was so helpful, that planning with that, because it meant that I had ready-made stuff there, which also with the quinoa, making it up, since I work from home, making it up Monday morning, before lunch so that I had time to cook, and then had time to cool off because I found that I liked it room temperature or colder on my salad. So that was a way that I could keep that promise to myself of eating more fruits and vegetables without feeling like I was just eating plain lettuce and then being starving later on, getting my protein in with that. So those prep things really, really helped me out in keeping that promise to myself. So there are just so many ways that you can do that. And um, I know from experience that yes, we can say that. And also, it's so easy to let it slide. Um, and for me, I find that either putting it on my calendar, like making an appointment with myself, um, which hasn't worked out so well with trying to work out in the afternoon. I prefer my workouts relatively early in the day. So I'm going to be going back to that because then I keep that promise to myself of getting my workouts in, getting my activity in. Um, and then that will feel better in my body. So I just know that's one of the first things that I do after I've gotten up and eaten breakfast. That's one of the first things I do. So, yes, we know we have to execute, we have to actually do the thing. But I do find that making things smaller, making things in bite-sized pieces, if you will, makes it easier to get them in. So instead of meditating for 20 minutes a day, maybe 5 minutes is all I can do right now. And it's enough to still my body and still my mind and set me up for a better day. So looking for those ways to incorporate small pieces into what your day already looks like. All right, I'm going to leave you here for now. And we have one more in this series, and I can't wait to talk to you about that one. So until then, take care.